Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Doctors in the House Health Show on 99.1 FM, WUJM, St. Petersburg Community Radio. We have an excellent program for you tonight. Please stay tuned. Good evening. Welcome to the Doctors in the House, your health show program about wellness, mental health, and disease prevention. I'm Dr. Morency, your host. Thank you for tuning in to 99.1 FM WUGM, St. Petersburg, Florida. And those of you online at 99jamestheberg.com, thanks. Call us at 727-637-2416. Our topic tonight is friendship and health. Choose the right friend. We have a very great show for you. Now, what we're going to do differently this time, we're going to ask you some questions. Let's do this exercise and see what come up. Number one, how many friends do you have in your life? So when you think about your best friend, for example, what makes this friend special to you? And in general, what are you looking for in a friend? So today we're going to discuss the health benefit of friendship, where we're going to address some questions. For instance, is it true that the right friend can reduce your stress level? Is it true that the right friend can reduce your blood pressure and other cardiovascular risk factors? Can this special friend lower your risk of being afflicted by mental illness? And more importantly, do you believe that friendship can improve the quality of your life, even increase your longevity at least by 7 years? What do you think? So, come along with us. Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat and I will share some evidence-based information with you about friendship, the power of friendship, in addition to information from our own personal and clinical experience. So once again, it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Carolle Jean-Murat to the show. Dr. Carolle, welcome back again.
Thank you.
And again. How have you been?
Wonderful. You are my friend, and I'm talking to you, and we're going to talk about friendship. And I want to say, it's not friends, it's not how many friends you have on Facebook. We're talking about real friends.
Well,
that if anything happens, they'll be there for you.
Absolutely. And it's also not necessarily the quantity. It's the quality of friend, that friend that you can actually feel good when either you're talking or you're hanging out and you know that who has your back. Anyway, before we continue, let's just remind those new folks who are listening for the first time who haven't heard about you. Dr. Carolle is a board-certified OBGYN, a primary care specialist, and award-winning author. For the past few years, she has been working as an intuitive health consultant and teacher, and is the director of an innovative type 2 diabetes remission program. So, Dr. Carolle, so what do you say? How would you define a friend? What is the quality? What makes somebody a friend, a true friend?
Before I say something, it's just like when we say friends, yes, because now because of technology, we do have people who are friends. You might have never seen them, but this show is mostly for a personal connection. Not that I'm poo-pooing the friends that people might have, and they can talk, or maybe people might have people in a support group through the internet they never met. It is there, so it is important as well. But this show we're mostly talking about the connection, the human connection of being with one person.
Well,
yes.
I understand that, and I got it, and I think, let's say the old-fashioned friend. Okay, we have technology now to change everything.
Yes.
But there's still some data saying that it may not necessarily be the same, but the phone and some kind of contact still keep people together, especially if they have common shared experience or if they've known that person for a long time. And so in that case, even though it may not be as powerful as somebody's very close to you. For instance, I have a friend, when I was doing my public health time in a public health clinic after my training, I met a friend there. And so I had to spend 2 years, and after 2 years I left. And she was still there because she had to serve certain time too. And then since then, that's been over 30 years. So we communicate on my birthday, her birthday, special occasion, and if there's something important going on in our life, we share. We talk about our kids. And even after all these years, I'll tell you what she did to me. That's my definition of friendship because, I'm a musician and I used to have regular gig on a club, and this particular lady lived way in another state, all right? And one time she called and she said, one of those days I'm gonna surprise you. It's been a long time. I said, man, I hope I can remember what she looked like. But every time we took the phone, it's just we started the same, and we remember the common thing we had in the past and some of the value. And she said she's gonna surprise me on this, but she didn't want to tell me what. And lo and behold, one of the night I was playing, and I saw this lady walked in the front door, and white hair completely. I didn't remember her white hair. And then I saw the husband, and I know husband. I remember his face. I said, oh God, could it be the surprise? Indeed he was. And then we spent an evening talking, and just it's almost feel like yesterday. And every time I'm gonna take the phone and really talk, and we, when you have kids, what do you talk about? A lot of time with close friends, you talk about your children, and she had children. Now, 30 years later, my children are grown, hers are grown, but on her birthday, my birthday, special occasions, holidays, we talk, we text. It's amazing. So to me, that's still a friend. They are a friend that I see more frequently, guy in college, and we talk at least once a week, and we talk about everything. Not only when I look at him, it's like, I know I can trust this guy. He has my back. There is no judgment. I mean, it's just, to me, that's a blessing. If you can have and this guy, we met in college. That's almost 40 years ago. You understand? And it's just something special about a friend. Like my wife would say, he probably know all your secret. I said, no, I don't have it. So
yes.
So what about your experience in friendship? What's going on?
I have a lot of people I can call friends, but there was one special friend, Nicole. Nicole, we played volleyball. We played volleyball in Haiti. We were on the Olympic team. I didn't go. She went. I was the one who reminded her. You were an Olympian. You went there. You were carrying the flag. He said, "Oh, I better tell my son. You better respect me more because his mother is an Olympian, and I'm the godmother of the firstborn." So we met. Then we met in Brooklyn. We were supposed to Brooklyn, New York. We were supposed to go to medical school. We ended up going there, and then we were roommates. And then one of the things about her, that's what I'm talking. We have friends, but you have to nurture that friendship. But one of the things she taught me is that you can have an argument, but then you move on. I remember one day we were, and her and I, we just two bulls in one, in one ring, and then we would be arguing, and I said, that's it. I'm going to move. I'm going to find myself another roommate because I cannot live with this woman. and then, my door is locked, and then there were three of us, medical student in Guadalajara. And there was a knock. Carolle, she called me Carolle. I call her Nicolina. I said, when I'm mad at her, I said, Nicole, what happened? She said, we're supposed to go to a movie. And I said, and I'm thinking, I'm moving out, and this woman is coming for a movie. And I said, Carolle, open the door. And she said, we're going to go to a movie. And we did. We go and we don't have much money. We'll have one popcorn. We're crying, together, the soap opera type movie in Spanish, in English with Spanish subtitle or in whichever language in Guadalajara. But then, and we kept in touch. She would come and visit me. But then one thing I remember is just like when her son graduated, her firstborn, who is my godson, was leaving for college, and she called me and said, one thing I wish my son would have is to have a friend like you.
Wow.
And this is when I remembered, and I said, oh, my God, we've been a long way. We stayed in touch. We nurtured. I can count on her. We have each other's secrets. And then it's just like, we just cried, and we just like, and that's what we did. And they decided, her and her husband, to come and visit the other day. It's just like, we would never, I would go to New York, and then they would come here to San Diego. But they had not been here over 20 years in San Diego. We had the same routine like they left yesterday. And it's knowing that, yes, you have the people you can count on. I can count on her. She can count on me. Mm-hmm. But also, this friendship has been nurtured.
Yes. Yeah, well,
that is an important thing. You nurture, you're there for the person, then you expect something. I call it like putting money in the bank.
Well,
and how about the friends? Yes.
And I understand that, and it's so sad because there's statistics showing now in the United States, particularly in the past, people used to have at least 3 or 4 friends, but now people have less than 3 friends. And then what's set in is really, isolation, loneliness.
Oh, yeah.
But if we had to define this in a way, you wrote something in the article, remember, you published. Mm-hmm. You said, a friend is someone who is there when you are in need, someone you can trust and is honest with you, someone who values your friendship. Friends accept us for who we are and are there when we're happy, when we're grieving, when we're stressed. And you stress out the keyword accessible, trustworthy, honest, accepting, loyal, and safe. And then for me, and I said, well, I can add a few more qualification to that based on my friendship. Okay. Yes. And to me, when I think of my friend, there's this mutual respect and there is that total acceptance, then there's that trust and that support. Now, some of those friends, they actually make me a better person because if there's something, they're in trouble, something, I got that energy to help. I don't want to lose them. I want to nurture them like you speak. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're saying something, it may be controversial, but there is no judgment. There's no, why are you saying that? It's, to me, just the expectation of talking to some friend really bring a feeling that
WUJM,
that is
St. Petersburg, 89 Jams.
Extraordinary. Yeah. The question too is really, you're talking about the friendship, especially between women, can be very special. Can you elaborate on that? And
then there is something about women. Women, remember, the men used to go out there and get the food, but the women stayed. They were the village. They were the one who made the village. They were the one. The men would go at war, but the women they were the stability that make the community. The women, mm-hmm. And then one of the things I want to touch what we were talking before. Mm-hmm. You can have a friend that you're totally different. I'll give you an example. I have a friend of mine, and then she's white, mm-hmm. And then I met. She was my patient, and we happened to live not too far from each other. And then she was.
Does that mean you were black?
I guess.
Okay.
But I'm talking that we different backgrounds.
Culture, yeah, different background,
and then
different culture.
I'm sure we different. And then I have to mention that because she's been there for me to thick and thin, and me as well. And then now she's going through a very difficult time of her life. And I have to take time for her. It doesn't matter if I'm busy. For example, her husband had a stroke, and she called me. I was the first person she called. But then so you need to know, how do I nurture that friendship? It's very important. We are from different backgrounds, most probably from different political, I don't know, we agreed of things. I met her in 1997, so 25 and a half years. We walk on Saturdays. We walk. We made it a point to nurture that. And this woman has been with me. We're going through my panic attack when I was 40, 22 years ago. Everything. She's been through everything with me. And then we decided, it was a conscious decision. We're going to stay friends, and her husband was very supportive because every Saturday she'll pick me up and we'll go for a walk and go to the store. This is our time together. She's busy, her husband has a business, and she's busy, and I'm busy, but that was the time we talk, we created, and then I'm always creating something.
But
she's always been there for me.
Yeah, but go ahead.
One day that I feel is very important is that I was taking a course on landmark education, and they said, or you might think you have a friend, and then maybe you should ask your friend, does anything I do that might hurt you? Just ask. That was part of her homework. And I asked her, oh my God, she told me that sometimes I don't listen to her, I'm very bossy, and then of course I am, but some people say I'm a dictator. But I never thought I was doing that to her. So that day, we went to a place, we sat down, we were at the park, and she told me, you do this, you hurt me, you do this, you did, I love you, but then this and this is, and then I was even thinking maybe we should break up, we should not have this friendship anymore. We cried, and I said, I really love Laurie. And I said, I will never do that again. I didn't know it bothers you. But I tried to tell you, but you were not listening. And then, so I listened, and that was 13 years ago. And then one of the things is that we never discussed things, whatever she said, whenever I did it would hurt her, we agree it's out of our relationship. So that's one thing. When you have friends, maybe go and ask them, is there anything I'm doing that hurt you? Because I was hurting her, and I didn't know.
I understand that. That's very important, because the point I want to make is that even with a friend, it takes a commitment. I mean, you commit to a relationship. It may not necessarily work for a long time, because conflict do happen, misunderstanding do happen. We're not perfect, but if you commit, if you find that person that resonates in you, and you have a sense that person is a good person, whatever flaw they may have. Yes. But you yourself have to be committed. And a lot of time, for instance, the relationship I told you with this young doctor that I met in the clinic, she made the few steps to really get in touch with me. And then my first thing I said, wow, how nice of her. Because I thought, it was different locations, so I had to move miles, 100 miles, 1,000 miles away. And I didn't, I said, well, I don't know where they were going to be. But she called.
She made it happen.
Made it happen. And I remember quickly, I said, that's a good friend to have. And I'm going to commit to that. So whatever it requires to let her know I'm on her page, and then we can see how to work out. Because I had spent, 2 years working together and vice versa. And then, but after the time we worked together, she remembered to keep in touch and ask about my family, ask stuff like that. Then I said, wow, I didn't think of that. But, sometimes people are more aggressive or whatever. But
that's me. But there is something I've learned, and sometimes I have people who come and they, have my patients. People can get sick because you have a good friend. It's just like losing a partner, a spouse. And then I have to remind them, there is that saying, people come in your life for a reason, for a season, or a lifetime.
Okay.
And there are sometimes things you can't, and then you have to let them go because they're poisoning you.
Yeah, well, there's some scientific evidence also showing that that social relationship, social behavior can be contagious. There are a person you become friends with them, but what actually they do, their behavior, the thing like that, inspired you and strengthened this naturally. Whereas there are others, you start with good intention, but whatever you do, it just it doesn't work out. And there are some also, there are some data which shows that, when you help somebody with a particular behavior, not only you help them, but you help yourself and you help other friends that they may have. So it's still hard work though, because you're bound to have some conflict, but you forgive, you accept. The acceptance is very important because no matter what personality, what background, what color that person is, if you commit, and I would be. I know you said you're aggressive, but I would bet you are very loving, and you want to help. I mean, that's part of your profession anyway. You want to help. Those two qualities by themselves is enough to really bring somebody along and want to hang around with you, no matter whether you become a BI, whatever the term is. So the fundamental value of you, because animal can actually feel that in human. And I'm sure there are folks who meet them for the first time and they want to hang around with you because of your personality, whether it's not being aggressive, but there's like an aura people can see around you that will attract the stuff there. But anyway, time is going, but let's switch to something there because that's
let me quickly add something. Those friends, Nicole and then Laurie, they taught me how to be better friends with my siblings. No, I have a wonderful relationship with my siblings, and then I learn from those friends.
Yes, and I'm not necessarily denying that because I told you, my friend making me a better person because there are sometimes that my friend, for instance, can get into trouble, which I would probably ignore for most people. But because of my friend, I said, you know what? I am not going to let that person suffer. I'm going to do the best that I can, and I would intervene. Actually, it happened to my practice too when somebody come with a bad attitude. But my approach is just, I am going to show that person how good behavior. I'm going to take it, understand it, and like this old Indian guru said one time, if you just listen intently, you can learn a lot. And you can strategically keep your mouth shut because there are certain things you don't necessarily need to send that energy out there. Okay? So there's ways to actually encourage this, to nurture it, like you've been saying. So why do you think friendship is so important for human being?
Like you said it before. It's sustainable. What I was going to say is that when I look at people who come to me for consult, and then they are lonely, they might have people around them, but they don't have what we call a friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can have a lot of people, but you don't have. It's the connection. We're talking that connection that you create yourself. It's a purposely. Mm-hmm. You do that, and so when you do that, like I said, you become your best friend as well.
Mm-hmm. So,
and go ahead.
So was human being hardwired for connection, to connect?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes. And you see during the pandemic how difficult it was for people. And then there was one thing positive for the pandemic. It brought family together. People who couldn't get along, so they were like, oh, my God, we're in this together. And they had to learn to become friends. Mm-hmm. They had to learn to look at the person for the first time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of two ship passing on the night or two train in the station. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but that's what we need.
Absolutely. This says human are social species. They need to connect. Yes. And there is social science, there's a hierarchy of needs that people need. Besides the emergent stuff, the food, water, and safety, shelter. Love, they found that love and belonging are some of the most important need that we all must fulfill. The idea, they need to connect with others and to be integrated in a group on the average, okay? So when those needs are met, our overall being improve, and we can actually live a more fulfilled life. Mm-hmm. And then what we talk about, again, you just said it, and let me repeat it. Loneliness doesn't necessarily mean you are alone. I mean, you can be alone and not necessarily be isolated or lonely. It's the absence of that special social network that you may not have. So friend, that's where friend comes in. So the friend can actually help you in terms of helping with prevent loneliness and isolation, and your friend can be supportive companion.
I wanted to add something. A lot of people are people they know, and then I realize that a bunch of my family members, especially the young ones, they don't even call you. They just text you. And I'm asking, how is going to happen with the next generation? Because I used to, before we had the phone, everybody knows, I don't have any children on my own. I have a lot of adopted children. They treat me better than my new nieces and nephews. They're coming up and they know, you have to call Tati Carolle for a birthday. But then it's just like, the other day, one of my nephew's birthday, I sing, I'm a singer, I'll sing for him. And it was on the 7th. He hasn't even acknowledged that or send me a text. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Send me a text to say, Tati, I got your call in your song. They used to, but it seems that this new generation is isolating themselves more and more and more. I guess with that phone, they can just, I have no clue.
I think you're showing your age.
I'm showing my age.
Yes.
Yeah, but then
there is a paradigm for every epoch we live. Every time, because it's not isolated; it's global. I mean, you could see the changes in a baby, and this is amazing. If you observe a young kid, I'm talking about before they even start talking. They are so attached to the new technology. I mean, I saw a grandmother pacify the grandchild who she had left to go somewhere else and left her with somebody else. And the kid started yelling and crying. And nobody knew how to help the kids. There are other people out there who could probably take care of the kids. And so the kid was making so much fuss that they had to go look for the grandmother, and they found her. Okay, so when the grandmother came, she opened a purse and then took out a phone and then pushed the right button and give it to the kids. And the kids, quiet.
But let me tell you something. Studies are showing too. See, those are the average people, but the people who created the phone as well, they don't give their children their phone. Their children don't have phones after a certain age because their brain is being rewired. Anyway, hopefully, like you say, we have every generation is different. They will, but I really do think, because when you're sick, you need a touch.
Dr. Carolle, surrender, please. I'm repeating your words. Surrender. Nature will take care of it.
I know that.
Nature will take care of it.
It does. But then So that's what we're doing this show because we are in transition and technology is going faster. But we do, and I see it. The people, let's say you diagnosed with cancer or something, those who have more connection will more likely to survive.
Well, we have artificial intelligence. We have a lot of things. We are using things that you and I we didn't use about 20 years ago. I mean, I'm attached to my phone as well. Okay. I mean, there's so many things I can do with my phone now. I don't know how those things would have been possible. All right. So it leveled itself out because we have no idea what the future is going to bring. Okay. So trust.
In the meantime.
With
the studies, Anyway.
Anyway, so for the time we
move on.
For the time we have left, why don't we go down to the big bottom line and then where we can actually present some evidence scientifically. Anyway, so there's been so many studies done on friendship, and most of the researchers have actually summarized what they have uncovered and really kind of listed some of the health benefit, which you and I already alluded to. For instance, number one, friend may extend your life. Okay, in other words, people who have strong social relationship are less likely to die prematurely than people who are isolated. That's a scientific founding. Okay, in fact, there was a study in 2010 review which look at the difference between people who are isolated and obviously people who have social tie that are solid. So the people with strong social tie are twice as likely to have benefit that you would get just from exercising, from quitting smoking, from having all those good behaviors. So just having that social tie strengthen your body and actually help you kind of avoid some of the what we call chronic disease that we've been talking about there. Okay, so what do you think? Is that something?
Oh, it is. It is the truth. And like I said, I'm doing a research now for a book that I'm writing. It's called Miraculous Cancer Remission, and then one of it is those people, because there are a percentage of people who are going to die. There are people who are going to survive, and they will say, "Oh my God, it's a miracle." It's not a miracle. There is a formula that they have, but that there is part of it is having part of the community, and it does show. In my experience, yes, and that's what I'm putting together. So,
yeah, and then they also find that we talk your good friend, your buddy, your pal, make you generally healthier, and we alluded to all those facts. And then in one of the things that you did allow, did mention in your story, which I actually verified. Well, we know that there are chemicals involved in really to explain some of this stuff. Okay, for instance, people who have chronic stress, where your body releases cortisol appropriately to help you fight, the fight and flight. This can be balanced with what your body actually releases when you are on a safe, conducive social network. Your body actually releases oxytocin, which is basically a very important hormone we find on childbirth, lactation, was an expression of love, generosity. So when you actually release that under social network that are beneficial and healthy for you, your body actually releases some oxytocin, which actually kind of neutralize the level of cortisol, kind of lower the level. So oxytocin make you feel better. Well, the cortisone certainly not only kind of allow you to
Kills
have...
you.
Well, you're direct. That's why I have you on the show. You said it. We know that also from other study that it keep your mind sharp, and that's also been confirmed where people who have the older folks who have who complain of loneliness and feeling of loneliness, isolation, they have a greater risk of having dementia. And it's a correlation, okay, than folks who are in a great social network. And it's, when you talk about in primary care, when we trying to really advise folks how to, when you get older, the more you stay connected socially with people, games and fun things like this, the more you can actually fight off dementia, just like the effect of exercise also on this. So there's a lot of benefit. Like we mentioned again, this is proven. Friends influence you for the better or for worse.
And I would like to say, being a part of a community, if you have a spiritual community or church group, because with those people, eventually, you're with them all the time, every Sunday, or if you're doing something special. So you have essentially, those are the friendship that you can have.
Yes.
Just being part of a community.
My manager just walked into the room, kind of remind us that we're having too much fun with that conversation here.
All right.
So any final thought you have?
Any final thought? Have some, I call it human, not on texting to the little machine or little box.
Okay. All right.
Connection, and this connection can be done to groups, to meeting people. And sometimes it might be difficult because of the pandemics and what's happening. But with time, be with people. That's what we are. We are human. You always, the village, we want connection, human connection.
Absolutely.
So as often as you can, just do it and nurture it.
What I remember,
and surrender.
What I remember from a meeting that I attended from the Harvard Development Research they were talking about longevity and relationship. This says, make sure you pick your friend. You are not able to pick your family members, but you can choose your friend. Okay? Not only you can improve the quality of your life, you can increase your longevity, hopefully with very little cost. So friendship
and your quality of life.
Correct. Your quality
because
of
you
life.
can live longer but be miserable.
Yeah,
your
quality of life and increase life. So very strongly. Yeah. So Dr. Carolle, once again, time flies when we're having that conversation. So
I know.
I thank you again for really helping me with this show. And to learn more about Dr. Carolle's work, please visit her website, www.drcarolle.com, and you'll get all the information. Let me spell it because she's been after me to do that. Dr. Carolle is DRCAROLLE.com, right? So, thank you again. And for those of you who, if you want to have a copy of this show, please, go to my YouTube channel. All those videos, all those talk will be posted.